institutional problems versus what Donald Trump has accused President Obama of. And we do actually need to parse the two out. President Trump has accused President Obama of tapping him as an individual to individual, as though President Obama was back there hacking him, or tapping him, climbing in and setting the wires, which is ridiculous and absurd, right? But this is the accusation, and this is the level to which the right has gone into a frenzy over this issue, and it is absurd. Now, institutionally, America has overreach into our privacy in the first place. The federal government, not America. The federal government does have this overreach into the privacy of the average American. And I've seen, here's where I want to parse the difference, though. People who, it is necessary, so I'm going to parse it. You guys got to forgive me, but I have to parse it. People are using Obama as a proxy for this NSA overreach into the privacy of America because he's the most recent. Trump is now the most recent president who is the representation of this violation of our privacy. And that's exactly what the hell I wanted to say, is that people are saying, well, President Obama, he's tapped us before. No. The federal government, whatever, I guess you can call it the deep state if you want to, but it has been authorized. It has been authorized in the Patriot Act, which first found its way into the American lexicon through George W. Bush. It was sustained and continued underneath President Obama. And now it is a tool that is in the hand of President Trump. So if you make this an issue of President Obama has been spying on Americans so it's possible, you miss the fact that it is actually an institutional problem of the United States to violate the privacy of Americans. And that's very significant, because if you realize it's an institutional problem, you take a step back and say, let's say, for instance, that this is exactly what Donald Trump says it is, or whether or not it's the surveillance of foreign operatives, or whether or not it's a general surveillance of American citizens. Either way, it's underneath the purview of Donald effing Trump. This is his America now. This is his Department of Justice. This is his executive branch. He is in charge of the NSA ultimately. And so what makes it so obscene and absurd is that instead of investigating the substantive questions of American surveillance, of the federal government's surveillance of American citizens, he has instead floated this conspiracy theory to make it seem like it is a problem unique to President Obama, for which we must investigate President Obama. And what's absurd to me is to see people who understand the problem of the surveillance state miss this very important point that the caller pointed out, which is the same Republicans who are acting as though they are so shocked that I have to keep correcting myself, that the federal government is surveilling American citizens, are the same Republicans who voted for the Patriot Act and gave the federal government this authority. And the same institutions that carried it out underneath President Bush and President Obama are the same institutions that are carrying it out underneath Donald Trump. What does all this matter? What matters is that what Donald Trump has put into the national conversation is not 1% concerned about this police surveillance state of the United States Americans, United citizens. You know what the hell I'm trying to say. Donald Trump did not put this out here for us to have a national conversation about our surveillance state. He put this out here because he's an effing idiot. And because he wants to change the national conversation, and he has no problem entertaining conspiracy theories. And so and this is what I tell people. Donald Trump is not interested in challenging the deep state or the surveillance state for the benefit of the American people. He's only interested of challenging it for the benefit of his ego. And so for anybody who finds something redeeming whatsoever about Donald Trump's crusade against the deep state and the surveillance states, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't talk to my audience like that, but hopefully you don't actually find anything redeeming about it, because Donald Trump is not. Here's your proof. Would Donald Trump say anything about surveilling American citizens if it didn't involve him? No. Would Republicans investigate anything about this if it did not involve the opportunity to change the conversation from Jeff Sessions to this? No. Would, even if it was something to be discovered and showed that it was because of the Patriot Act, would your sitting Republicans investigate to the point where we have a national conversation about repealing and replace the Patriot Act? No, because they voted for it and they support it, and they have no problem with surveillance, the surveillance of American citizens. They have no problem with it whatsoever. And neither does Donald Trump, except for where it crosses over his ego. I think that's all we need to really say about that conversation. I think that's it.